Hello everyone and welcome to this VOD review. Today we're going to be looking at Faker's Leblanc. Your runes and the suggested final build are on the screen at the moment.
Minions have spawned.
So Faker started with the Corrupting Potion, which is pretty standard in mid lane these days. And that will allow him to trade aggressively, which is what you want to be doing on the Leblanc pick. If you're going to pick a champion like that should be playing aggressive in the early game, you need to be playing to the edge of your abilities. As you can see there, he already goes in with the distortion straight away as the waves come in. Although he doesn't land that one. You can notice his mouse clicks are quite close to his champion, even though we can't see his mouse, just by how quickly his character's turning. And it looks like Set's about to gank already, level 2, and he blows the flash out of respect. I think that was a necessary flash. If you're faced with that situation, it's better to just use your flash. It's there to be used. If it saves a death, then it's worthwhile. Gets the quick level up on the chains to trade back there as he just hits level 2. And now he's pulling the wave, he's not letting those minions go under the turret. He's just sitting back.
First blood.
Goes in for the aggressive trade again. Now Silas is a skirmisher, pretty much like Leblanc in the early game. So this could be an interesting laning phase. A lot of trades could happen backwards and forwards. And they're both capable roamers as well. So we could see some roaming action. The one thing you have to be careful of on the bank in the early game is getting shoved in, because her mana costs are quite high and her wave clear is also not very good. So he's trying to keep the wave in a good position, keeping it even and balanced. So he's taken an early recall with the Silas. And he's picked up an amp turn there, which will give him some extra potency in that laning phase for the skirmishing. And we can see Silas on the other hand has picked up a Dark Seal, which will help his sustain inside the lane. Leading there with the aggressive chain. He goes in, quick trade, proxies electrocute and snaps back, and that's exactly what you want to be doing on Leblanc. Don't stay in a skirmish longer than you need to be. Just get in, trade, and pop back. So notice how he's not continually auto-attacking the wave at the moment. He's just last hitting to try and keep the waves frozen closer to him, keep him safer from ganks. And also put the Silas at risk. Looks like he's looking for a roam top, but he's just passed over that ward there. Oh no, he just went to ward. Again, it's important on Leblanc to be landing those chains and ensure that you can land a skill shot like that. So it might be worth going into the practice tool and just having to play around with that one, because they can be kind of hard to land at times. Especially if a target has a dash. So you can see there, he's smart. He went to stop the Silas is back and he knows he's recalling now, so he's just going to shove this wave. And he also knows his teleport's down. So he doesn't need to freeze it. He can just shove it into the turret and then he'll either back or look to roam. Looks like it's going to be the recall. Even though there's a bit of a fight going on bot lane. He opts to take the recall. He was quite low on mana in that situation. And he picks up the Sapphire Crystal and some boots, which will help him get back to lane faster and keep his mana up in the shoving match in the mid lane. Maybe now he'll be able to get some roams off. The Silas has made a roam bot lane. So he can either follow or just shove as hard as he can. Which he does. He even uses the Mimic Distortion there to help shove the wave quicker. Now he's looking topside. And there's nothing to be had topside, so he's just going to come back into the mid lane. That's one of the things you can think about in a game. If your lane of roams bot, you can look to roam top and go for that cross map play. Instead of just blindly following. Going in for a bit of a skirmish again there. Notice how he snapped back straight away. He knows the Silas can get on him with the chains if he gives him the chance. And he also moves with the Silas to support his jungler on the invade there. So Faker was actually down in CS earlier on. But now he's picked it back up and he's actually got a 9 CS lead at the moment. But the Silas is trying to roam top on Faker's Renekton. And they managed to pick up the kill. So he pops in for the plate there, and now he's just going to recall. Picks up the blasting one now. Interesting choice. He values the raw power more than the last chapter and the mana sustain in the lane. Which can be useful to just brute force your opponents. Obviously he's building to that Luden's Echo first, which will give him a lot of mana sustain. It's a really nice power spike on mages. Give you the extra wave clear, which is especially good on Leblanc because she lacks that, the raw power and the mana. To help you just win the economy war in mid lane. He opts to shove the wave, as if you look on the map, he knows that wave's going to hit the turret before the next one comes. So you can always look at the position of your own minion wave on the map and make that judgment. And as you can see, that wave has now gone under turret. And he's just using this time to get some vision control around the enemy red. These high level players, they're always mobile, they're always looking for the next invade, the next play. Or at the very least kind of securing vision. Or supporting their teammate, being there. And he's trying to look for the Silas now to figure out where he's gone. But he doesn't know. Don't think he saw him. So he's just going to shove this wave. Quite possibly back because he's getting low on mana again. So although he's been aggressive within the lane early on, he hasn't really roamed. You don't need to force a roam if there's no opportunity, because that can just backfire and you can end up down in farm. And as you can see here, he actually has a level advantage at the moment on the Silas, and also a little farm lead that he's built up for himself. And off that back, he's picked up Sorcerer's Shoes as well, which will help for the roam if he spots a good opportunity, and also returning back to lane more quickly. so he doesn't lose that minion experience and gold from the minions under turret. Now the Renekton's teleporting bot and he's also distorting down. See what he can do here. Misses the chain, gets the mimic chain. He's looking for something on Callista, but she was killed before he could get there. This should be theirs. The chain lands. Yeah. There we go. Leblanc is a very effective roamer with the double distort, giving her so much mobility to get to the fight quickly and also chase people down. It's also important on champions like Leblanc to learn how to farm with your auto attacks. You can see he's not really using abilities to farm unless he wants to push the wave with the distortions like that. But otherwise he's just last hitting with auto attacks, which can be quite hard on mages, especially if they've got a bad animation. I don't think Leblanc's is too bad, but something that it's nice to get to grips with, because you can give yourself a nice little advantage just from farming better than your opponent, especially in low elo. He's now taken his ult. Don't think it's super useful yet, he's just burned it on the wave there. The Silas can, the Hecarim ult is useful for him. Or the Varus ult is also good. They're probably the best two he's looking for. So we roam him bot again, distorts in. Oh, he's in trouble. Okay, burns the flash on the thick wall. That's a good flash to use. See there, he distorts in looking for the aggressive play, realises it's not happening and immediately snaps back. And if anything, that immediate snapback saved his life in that situation. He's distorting back, getting back to mid lane before so he can get prio, shove that wave, and then he'll probably just walk upwards in a sec. And then he can link up with Varus and Thresh, and they shouldn't be able to chase him up here. Especially with all those distortions. So now he picks up the Lost Chapter, which will help his mana a lot. It's especially useful in EUS, which is where I play, because junglers don't tend to give you the blue buff anymore. Although I think in Korea, there's still tends to get given to the mid laner. But in Europe, it's become a lot less common over the last few years. So notice how he's moved to the side lane now, because we're kind of in the mid game. You know, both teams have taken a turret each. In fact, Faker's team have two, sorry. So he's just in that side lane. There's no one that should really be able to match him in the 1v1. His push potential's not amazing on LeBlanc, but he's got that pick potential here. He's looking for the Lucian. The Mimic chain connects, he dashes in. Don't think he quite has the damage there. And he's just being careful, because he doesn't know where the enemy team is. When you split pushing, it's always important to keep one eye on the map. See how many people you can count, where they're at. You don't need to be staring at your character if you're just farming. So he's actually picked up a Dark Seal as well. And if he gets some stacks on that, it might later turn into a Magi's, which will help him snowball the game, which is something you can look to do. Especially good in solo queue. Such a cheap item and cost effective if you get those stacks. And then if you get to 10 on the Magi's, you get the movement speed, which really helps you take control of a game. On a champion like Leblanc, whether you've got so much mobility, it's kind of hard to die. So you can hang on to those stacks. We've just seen another successful roam there, the Silas, picked off by Faker and the Renekton. Looks like there's going to be a skirmish. Yeah. Already killed the Alistar by the time we go over there. Just dashes that wall beautifully and the chain connects. Sets picks him up. Will they be able to catch? Yeah, the chain connects again. He's very good at landing those chains. He does get taken out though, but they should be able to pick this kill up comfortably. And with that, he finishes off the Luden's Echo, which will give you a really nice power spike. It's a lot of flat AP, the mana, and of course the AoE, which is great for pushing waves in the side lane, which is what he's going to look to do now. Just clearing out the enemy vision. So the enemy team's trying to make a play here while he's clearing the vision and looking to side lane. So there's going to be a fight. He's got a nice flank there. Oh, the flash distortion straight onto set, picking him up, back in again. It's just a clean up. When you're this far ahead, Leblanc really comes into her own. And back to the side lane he goes. Notice how he doesn't just stay around with his team, but he's always defaulting back to one side lane or the other to pick up farm, keep his lead. And LeBlanc is a champion where you want to be playing that side lane. You want to be looking for the picks, and then you can collapse for the skirmish with your high mobility. If there's nothing else to do, then you can just clear the enemy jungle for some extra golden experience. And don't be afraid to use your mimic abilities, preferably your mimic distortion, to shove the wave if you're confident you're not going to need it, because it is on a short cooldown. So you can see there it really sped up his wave clear. And with that back, we pick up the Oblivion Orb, which is obviously a component of Morellonomicon, which is great on LeBlanc. Gives him that extra penetration. You can sit on the Oblivion Orb and carry on building other things, but we'll see what he does here. You may just opt to complete it for that power spike. It's a great item when there's a lot of healing in the game at the moment. And if you look at Silas, he's got that Conqueror. And he's healing on one of his abilities as well, which is a massive heal. So it'll be useful for that. And they've stuck the Baron while that skirmish was going on there. Now they're bringing the full force in here. This should just be a clean-up really. The enemy set's not even there yet. Silas stole the Hecarim Orb, but it wasn't super useful. Faker distorts, takes the Alistar out. And the Silas just gets popped as well. This is quite possibly going to be the game here. At the very least an inhib. And they're just going to push for the end here. Oh, they're backing off. They've only taken the one Nexus turret. Very reserved play. Another staple of Korea. They know when to back off and when to go for it. And he looks for the pick there on the way out. Lucian not expecting it, just gets popped. Like, now. Is he going to re-enter the fight here? I think that's a bit of an overstay. Scrappy fight. Ends up being a 3-for-1 against Faker's team. Looked like a good situation, but it didn't turn out that way. They needed to reset really, spend the gold, come back again. Full health and mana. Sometimes it's better to do that than just get greedy and overstay. He does just straight pick up the Morellonomicon there, which is going to be a big, nice boost to his penetration. And cut the healing. It makes sense when you've got some heavy healers on the enemy team. The Silas, we mentioned, the Callista, Summoner heal, and she's getting life stealing. And you've got the Lucian with a bit of life steal as well. Dashes in really aggressively there, looking for that Callista, which is something you can do. Even if you don't find it, it's always good to look for these players. And if you dash in and realise it's not going to happen, you can just snap back straight away. Just be ready to do that. Again, keeping control of the vision in the enemy jungle, really important on a champion like Leblanc. You can prey on people that don't know where you are, get the jump on them, just pop them like he's looking for here, straight onto the Lucian. And he's just absolutely destroyed there. Always looking for those plays. Here he goes again. Shade lands and he snaps back. Chuck the Q out as well. The Callista there, I believe. Just with a blue buff. Unrelenting. Just dashing in, chucking the abilities, dashing back. This is exactly how you want to be playing Leblanc. Gets the double chain, which is nice when you're looking for those picks. And really, this should be the game now. They've got 2 inhibitors down. Just looking to push for the end, and they've picked off the Alistar already. Yeah. All in. Faker doesn't even have to do anything here. They're already just pushed back. And that's going to be the game. Hope that's helped you with your Leblanc play. And if you like the video, please consider liking and subscribing. And I will see you next time.